Welcome back, comic book collectors and enthusiasts. My name's Brandon. You're watching M.O.N.Comics. Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. Today was just one of those days. I start my day for work getting up at 4 a.m. I work from 5 to 1:30. Today I had to go to my mechanics to get some car work done. By the end of it, I had been there for 2 hours. I missed watching my oldest daughter do her horse riding lessons, which I love going to. I don't like missing anything she does. And I ended up walking out of there with an astronomically higher bill than I had anticipated. Went through the rest of the night, hung out with my kids, my wife, had dinner, and needless to say, I couldn't wait to sit down and talk some comics. So let's get into today's discussion. So as per the thumbnail and the title of the video, I just want to talk a little bit about precode horror today. So if you're not familiar with precode horror, those are horror books that were made before the Comic Code Authority went into place. In the 50s, parents were in an uproar about the covers of comics, the contents, mostly the covers, whether they were salacious or horrific or gory, which led to congressional hearings and the book that came out called Seduction of the Innocent. And it was a big time for censorship in comics, you think about comic covers today and a lot's changed since then. And I would love to collect precode horror. And I know my thumbnail said, don't collect precode horror, collect this instead. I guess I was coming from the aspect is precode horror is pricey. What dictates the price? The covers. If it's a very gory cover, if it's a beheading cover, if it's people being burned to the stake, that drives the demand of it. No one's really buying precode to read the stories in them. And most of the time you see precode, it's slabbed because they're usually in such rough shape, being 60 to 70 years old, that it's just better to preserve them in a slab that's just encased. And we can make the argument again that you could buy some gator guards and stuff to do it yourself, but most of the time they're already slabbed. So yes, precode horror it can be very pricey to get into. Even the books with the covers that aren't as risque are still hundreds of dollars. Now, you might look at me and say, Brandon, you've got expensive books behind you. I do. It's not lost on me. I'm very grateful for the books I have. But you go to precode horror in the golden age, and it goes even higher. So when I started collecting, I got one golden age precode horror book, and then I really had to make a decision. Do I really want to try to go down that rabbit hole? Because I can't do Silver Age and Bronze Age, which is more of a favorite to me, and do that at the same time. It's not feasible with my budget. And I think that speaks to a lot of people out there. If you want to collect precode horror and you make a great living and you can afford to pick up a book or here or there, go for it. More power to you. If you're rich and money's no object, sure, go for it. Some great covers, they're just beautiful, like this one here. This little ditty right here is a classic. And then this one, Crime Suspense Stories number 22, is actually considered the end of the golden age. It's a classic beheading cover, and even, in low grades, it commands thousands of dollars. You can definitely collect those if you have the means to do so. But if you like those kind of covers and maybe you don't have the resources or you're into collecting other stuff, there's a lot of other options. There were some great times in Bronze Age horrors with covers such as this beauty by Gray Morrow. Or you could go even with these two, Crypt of Shadows or Werewolf by Night. Great bondage cover, great zombie-like cover. There's even Romita goodness on the cover in the Bronze Age of horror. Let's not forget, DC put out some awesome Bronze Age horror too. So if you like skulls, they're to be found, and they're very economical. Or you could go with this title, which I just picked up another issue of, working towards my 2024 collecting goals, and that is Fear number 8. So this was written by Stan Lee and Larry Lieber, cover done by John Severin. And I think these stories are a little more fun to read. I've read some Golden Age precode horror stuff online. I like these. They're a little more fun to read. They're a little more campy and a view into the window of that time. And it's just a different time in history. This is from 1972. This is just a cool line I wanted to collect because I couldn't go down the precode horror road and get some of those really pricey books with cool covers, but this does it for me. That creepy crawly tree thing coming through. This is a compilation of 4 stories, which I did read. The only one I remember is the very first one. It was about a farmer who was trying to plant or make a crop that could feed the whole world, that would grow bigger than any other plant. And the same day he's trying to figure that out, a meteor crashes into his farm field, and him and his son go check it out, and they don't think much of it. Well, overnight, the crop starts to take on a life of its own and starts just attacking the whole town. And the farmer runs back by the meteorite to hide, and he notices that when the plant touches the meteorite, it turns to dust. So he breaks up the meteorite and gives it to the townspeople, and they fight off this plant. So very fun, cool stories. I just think the Bronze Age has some great horror titles that you're going to spend sub $100 and get some great covers and some fun, campy, historic reads, if you will. They're just books that show their age and their time and when they came out. You know, even 72 is 50 years ago. So I mean, it's still, relatively long ago, but not as old as pre-code horror. So yeah, I'm not trashing pre-code horror. Would I love to own some someday? Absolutely. It's a cool facet of the comic collecting industry to get into, but not going to happen right now. I'll just stick with my Silver and Bronze Age. So I didn't get this from any seller I can tell you about. I got this off of eBay. I found with the Fear run, other than the big titles with like Adventure into Fear 10, 11, 19, which is first Howard the Duck, some of these lower issues are a little more obscure and harder to find. I've been looking for sellers that have them and asking, no one's been able to produce, so I just pulled the trigger on this. It is in very good shape. Definitely probably a VF line. It's only a little dirty, but it's pretty sharp for its age. So had to go with the eBay this time. Don't like doing it, but to get this one into my collection, I am now 6 books away from completing what I wanted to with this run. Okay, second part of my video. I received a package from my buddy Doug Botkin, who has been a watcher of this channel for quite a long time. Little funny story about this package when it came. Doug is a father like myself, and he couldn't find a box that would accommodate what he wanted to send very well, so he had to send it in a diaper box. And it showed up on my porch, and my wife and my daughters and I were pulling in, and I knew that Doug had told me sorry I had to send it in this. I said, hey man, however it gets here, it gets here. I appreciate it. And so I said, oh, there's, that's a package for me. One of my, channel viewers wanted to send me a little something. My wife got so excited. She's like, oh my gosh, diapers is the best thing someone can send. And my heart sunk because I had to tell her, no, honey, there's comic books in there. So her face and demeanor definitely went down. But, it was a great red herring, Doug. Good work. But he sent me some pretty unique things that I'd like to show. And he sent me a letter. I'm going to read it. I'm going to talk to him later. If he wants me to edit it out, I will. But he said, Brandon, my man, what can I say that hasn't been already said? I very much enjoyed the past year of your content and becoming your friend. During that time, you've inspired me to get back into collecting comics, which I had no idea I would inspire anyone to do anything. So thanks, Doug. That means a lot. Because of the enjoyment I get from them, and I thank you for that. You are welcome. I want you to have these items not only as a thank you, but because you deserve them. I don't know if I deserve anything. The art print was done by an artist named Landon Huber. I recommend you check him out. Landon Huber, I'm going to put his link to his website in the description so everyone can check him out. Well, I'm sure you already own a copy of the Man-Thing book. I doubt you have one like this. At least I hope not. I did not. I've seen it. I wanted it, but I didn't get it. Lastly, my LCS had a collection of the other books, and they had your name all over them. I hope you enjoy these things. Thanks again. Much love. Cheers, Doug Botkin. I've got a list. I've just got the list or the stack of kind letters from people and friends and people I've traded with or people of AOK and stuff is just mind-blowing, humbling. I really appreciate it. So Doug, thank you. Let me show everyone what Doug sent. So the art he was talking about was this beautiful Man-Thing print, and you can see Landon Hubert signed it right down there. Very psychedelic, very 70s, very trippy. I showed this to a friend. They're like, get a blacklight on that thing immediately. So I don't have a blacklight. I'm going to have to get one so I can test it out. But very, very cool. That's awesome, Doug. Doug is a big Man-Thing fan as well. So this really hit my heart. Love the hand. Let me just get a close-up of this. Just a beautiful job. Great. Thank you, Doug. This is awesome, dude. Now I see why you had to send it in a Pampers box. Now, the next thing he sent, I kind of have, but it is The Man-Thing from Volume 1, and it is issue 5, Night of the Laughing Dead, which is a good read, especially the second part to this is very interesting. But this is the record book set. So many times, I'm sure everyone's heard of Golden Record reprints. A lot of books from different series would sell an issue, and then on the in the issue there is a record inside, and you can listen along and follow along with the story. I don't have a record player. This makes me want to get a cheap one so I can at least listen to it. Very cool art. Mike Plug did the art for this issue. I know that because my friend Eric from M.O.N.Comics sent me a original production panel that is at the Framer right now, actually. So, and Plug is in there, and I just know how he draws the Man-Thing. So this was very cool. Like I said, I had seen it in a couple places. I just hadn't jumped on it because I was just trying to complete my run with the original regular books. But very cool. It's about, this particular issue is about a circus clown, and he's in love with a girl that works at the circus, and the owner of the circus and the strong guy are just mean, not nice people, and he takes his own life in the swamp, but he comes back from the dead in the next issue, and it's a really cool how they do it. Steve Gerber was really good at writing this. So thank you for that awesome act of kindness for the Man-Thing, Doug. Appreciate it. So he actually sent me a couple pulps. Pulp magazines were published between 1896 and 1960s, and it derives from the cheap wood they used to make them, which, you know, caused them to be inexpensive. You might have just heard CGC started recently grading pulps. Am I going to grade these? No, but they're a beautiful gift from Doug. So the first one I want to show is Weird Tales from July of 1946. This is an old book. The cover was done by an artist by the name of Matt Fox, a very spooky, cool Halloween cover. I could see why Doug would think I would like this. Upon doing my research of this series a little more, Matt Fox went on, by the way, to do some pencils for such titles as Journey into Mystery and Tales of Suspense, which you might know a little better if you're not familiar with his work in pulps. But some of these covers, which I'm trying to find now, were done by an artist by the name of Lee Brown Coy, who's actually a local to Syracuse, New York, which isn't far from me. And what else is kind of uncanny is that he has an exhibit going on in the museum of the college I work at. So I'm actually going to go down there this weekend, maybe get some footage if they'll let me, and see what they have to offer. But really cool. Again, this is like a compiled compendium of stories, if you will. Really awesome, haunting. Matt Fox, from the research I read, was very Victorian wood carving style that it kind of looked like, but I fell in love with it, and I saw it and I was like, this is awesome. So thanks for the Weird Tales, Doug. This is spooky. Good for the Halloween show next year. The next one is Famous Fantastic Mysteries from June of 1946. Sweet cover done by Lawrence Stern Stevens, who, when you start looking up and researching him, they just refer to him as Lawrence because his dad was Lawrence too, so they just referred to him as Lawrence to make it easier. But what a creepy cover. Again, a thicker book, and just compiled with a bunch of stories. The Undying Monster, A Tale of Midnight Terror by Jesse Kerouish. Novel of the Black Seal by Arthur, I can't read it because it's cut off, but really cool. I have never owned pulps, so it's cool to have a couple in my collection. Like I said, these will probably be busted out for my horror show. So thanks, Doug. This was a really cool AOK. I really appreciate it. Now I've got your address, and I'll see what I can get together and send back to you. So thank you for these. So there you go, guys. Another video down. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I appreciate it. If you wouldn't mind liking and leave me a comment. What did you think? Are you guys into Bronze Age horror? Does anyone collect precode horror? If you do, that's awesome. More power to you. But I kind of like these. And what did you like that Doug sent? Was it the Man-Thing record album and storybook, or was it the pulps? Either way, I just want to make a little bit of a change of a video suggesting some great alternatives that could save you money while also satisfying that horror collector in yourself. And what can I say? My viewers are just amazing. I appreciate all of you, your kindness, your generosity, and just tuning in and saying hi and commenting. It makes my Saturday or whatever day it is when I can, look and see what you guys have said, left, commented on. Next week on the 2nd, I am hosting the March M.O.N.Comics Big 5 Live. It will be at 8 p.m. on Saturday. I think that's the 2nd, Eastern Standard Time. I didn't do one for this month because I had so many other lives going on and so much other stuff going on that I just didn't have time to do it, so I'm bringing it back. And I've got another fun video with an update for everyone next week on another one of my long-term collecting goals. So I hope you all have a great, safe weekend. Thank you so much, and until next time, keep reading those comics.